Hey, what's going on? Joe Coffey here with the guys from Taylor. I've got Bob Taylor himself. Bob, how you doing?
Great to see you, man.
Good to see you. And this is David Hostler. David, how you doing?
Hey, man, good to see you.
And you guys, what you're seeing is correct. Your brain isn't playing tricks on you. It looks like a T5 that is a Bigsby. Bob, tell me about this.
Well, we call it the T3. It's a cool guitar that just sort of developed over a period of time. You know, when we first came out with the T5, it was so pretty successful. You know, it really hit the market great. But a lot of guys were like, hey, when are you going to put a Bigsby on that thing? And, you know, the T5, just in the way it isn't really right for a Bigsby. But we started working a little bit with new pickups for solid bodies, and we started taking those pickups and other ideas. This guitar is sort of evolved from the T5. It's solid in the middle. So it's really more electric. It's not a hollow body. It's just chambered on the edges. The Bigsby goes on. It looks incredible. The switching, the pickups, the whole vibe is just, man, it's just a really cool guitar. People are looking at it and just stopping dead in their tracks, you know.
I'm recognizing a lot of Taylor-specific components, everything to the knobs. You guys, Taylor make, pun intended, a lot of your own parts where a lot of people would order them otherwise.
Yeah, we do. Bigsby, that's a class of its own. You know, you never want to try and copy that thing. You just do a Bigsby. But you know, as we talk a little bit more, we can check out some of the solid bodies. You know, but because we've got a new bridge on that. But you know, these pickups are ours, the rings are ours, the knobs, the switching. And there's some really cool switching on this thing. Push-pull pots on both of these things, so we can switch from single coil to double coil on this thing, and a lot of really neat combinations of sound.
When it comes to this style of guitars, when you guys came out with a T5, a lot of people freaked out because it's like, well, an electrified acoustic is one thing, but the T5 said you can have electric kind of sustain, you can have a lead type guitar, but you can also play acoustic with it. This looks like a really cool step up from that, because a lot of guys are all about the Bigsby, you know.
Yeah.
So,
and this guitar really is going more into the electric guitar realm. You know, we don't have the acoustic sounds on it, it's just pure electric.
well, let's check it out. Why don't you play some stuff for us and tell us what your settings are, and you know, let's get a feel for this thing.
Give you a little bit of idea of what we've done. Took some kind of old school things like push-pull pots, things that if you're under the age of 30, you don't remember them at all, you know. So where we have a typical three-way switch with two humbuckers. So I just ran through all three combinations, two humbuckers. Pull the switch, now we're at two single coils. So just you know, it's a simple little thing. Gives it a little more twang, it's happening. So you got two humbuckers, pull the switch, two single coils. Now the cool thing we added too is our solid bodies. We had a tone control we came up with, which makes it sound like you kind of like you got a wah-wah pedal cocked. Just it's all passive, but we know guys that play these kind of guitars like to have that mellow tone too. So up pull and you got. So got a couple of sounds all in one. They're real easy to access, but very familiar. Nothing complicated.
Tell me about production specs. I mean, that's a beautiful piece of curly maple. Tell me about the body and the sides.
Go ahead, Bob.
Well, we're using, on the typical guitar, we're using Sapele. This one is Pacific Coast maple on the back and sides with quilted maple on the top. And then other models are Sapele on the back and sides with quilted maple on the top.
And the model's also coming doing like this, where there's a stop tailpiece, so you don't have to go to the Bigsby if you don't feel like you need to do it. So.
Very cool. All right, so I guess you could say 2009 for Taylor's the year of the whammy, huh?
Well, it is. You know, we just introduced solid bodies in 2008. Everyone who's looked at our solid bodies has noticed that the bridge is unique, and you were touching on that before, that we build our own parts. And so when we did solid bodies, of course, we didn't want to use a bridge from an OEM supplier. We designed this gorgeous, beautiful bridge that's got great reviews. People love it. It feels so good. And once that was done, we thought, uh-oh, we're going to have to make a Trem version of this sort of aesthetically shaped, beautiful bridge sometime. Well, we dove in and spent the year of 2008 really designing this thing, and we've come out with it now. So we've kept all the aesthetic beauty and the same form and function of that original bridge, and now we've got it in a Trem version. And it really is probably one of the coolest Trems I've ever seen. And Dave, you can talk about the fulcrums, but Dave had a lot to do with this and really working on the fulcrum points of where this thing is, and it works better than your average Trem.
I mean, there are a lot of things you can design yourself, but when you go here and design your own, there's a lot going on there. I understand what you're talking about when you said you took all of 2008. There's so many moving parts involved with this. Tell me about that process.
Actually, like Bob said, getting from that traditional style we did on the solid body, keeping all that elegance, and yet adding all this functionality, you go, well, it seems easy, till you start actually doing it. This is actually, I think there's probably 6 parts in this bridge that get assembled together. However, the cool thing about it is, when you're designing a tremolo, there are certain things we all know that are always a problem. How do you get it to fall back to center? You know, instead of you pull up and it's sharp, you push down, it's flat. So we spent a little bit of time on that. We ended up doing some things mechanically inside. If you imagine that you have a typical fulcrum thing where you're trying, you know, if you say the strings are up here and there's your fulcrum point with springs, strings going back and forth. If you can move that a little bit, all of a sudden one area isn't fighting over the other area. They kind of tend to want to relax a little more naturally. And that's what we did with this. We changed the fulcrum point on this, lowered it down. Plus, because our strings load from the back instead of coming from the back of the guitar, it allowed the whole thing to sit more relaxed. So with 2 springs, we have this fantastic feel that wants to center itself naturally every time. So we kind of solved one of the problems that exists in tremolos. And we weren't shooting for the hardcore Floyd dive bomb, but you can have it if you want.
Is it screw or snap?
As far as the unit itself, the bar actually threads in. Okay, so there's a screw in the bottom, and you can pull it out, so it will lock in. It goes down, and there's a thread down there. If you want it so the bar, you can control the tension on the bar or the flop, there's some screws come in at the side, so you can decide whether you want to just fall or where you want it to be. All the little things we know you want in a guitar, and particularly in a trem, we tried to put them in it.
Well, and I love the way you guys put form and function together. Every review I've read of this guitar, everybody describes this as like a really nice watch band. I mean, it's not going to tear your wrist up. Not only does it look good, I mean, that feels great. That's really comfortable.
And you know, taking that elegance a step farther, most bridges adjust, height adjustment right here. Well, we went ahead and moved the screw part to the back side, so you didn't see a slot here, just to make it look a little more elegant, you know? Stuff you just do because it's fun.
So tell me about availability and how it works. Say somebody wants a solid body, is it just a new option they can get on there?
It's an option. It won't be available to the end of the second quarter of the year because we're still in manufacturing on this. By mid-year, though, it should be available. I'm not sure how it comes out as far as an option or on the guitar yet. So, but we're doing well on it.
Cool. Well, David, thank you very much. Bob, as always, thank you very much.
Yeah, it was really a pleasure.
If people want to find out more about your products, where can they go online?
TaylorGuitars.com. We got a lot going on there. They can find it real easy.
All right. Thanks a
Yeah.
lot.
Thanks.
I'm Joe Coffey. You're watching PremierGuitar.com.